I can resubmit what the guys do.
All right. Okay, I'd like to call PUC to order for October 13th. That's 4:30 p.m. Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nobody's on public on Zoom. Okay, any correspondence?
No.
Late breaking? No. Approval of minutes of the regular meeting of September 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. For discussion, is there any additions, deletions? Marty, you have anything? On the minutes? No. You all set?
All set.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carries, one abstention. Peter. Financial report? Brad?
So at the broken record, we're early on in the year. All the expenses look good, except for the one thing we talked about last month, on that one maintenance account, I think was for water. And that was because they bought a lot of the maintenance supplies in a lump sum.
Chemicals, I think,
Was it chemicals?
other supplies.
Yeah.
Chemicals, so
So, like sewer line maintenance is half of the budget, but these things aren't straight line throughout the year. So otherwise, I think we're in really good shape. On with the revenue. The revenue is very similar to where we were last year. Water is $16,000 less than it was last year. A lot of that is just timing, but as long as we're in that same ballpark, we're in a good spot. And sewer is a little bit less than that, but some of that is those grant payments. When they come, all that wouldn't be grant payments on sewer, so. So I'm comfortable with where we are at this time of year.
All right, any other questions for Brad?
just real quick, we should be at 25% on things that are typical monthly expenses.
Yeah, the things that are straight line will be at 25%. The account I was speaking was sewer plant maintenance. We spent $46,663 through the first 3 months. And as Tom had explained last time, that was.
No, actually, that one's the Payne Road pump station.
Oh, all right.
Remember, we said Pembroke had a pump for us we weren't sure what that bill was gonna be.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a certain number. It's less than that number, but it was about 20 grand for 6 days worth of pump outs. And then the pump that got replaced was almost 16,000. So that's about 36,000 out of that 46,000.
No. So. Okay.
Can I ask Brad a question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, and I'm sorry, Brad, I would have called you earlier, but I've had a really hectic day so far, so I didn't have a chance. I was looking, when I went through it, I looked at the legal for both, and I realized that the monies that are in there aren't just for me, they're for a lot of different things. But one of the things I noticed was for legal, there's two amounts. There's a contingency of $985. I don't know what that's for. And there's miscellaneous services of $511. I know I'm behind in billing. What else is new? But I checked my records, and I have for a water, I've been paid so far from July 1st up until the present, $634.50. And I don't see that number on here, so.
Yeah, so it may have gotten charged to the contingency, and it should have been the legal services.
Okay,
Because
well,
and I wouldn't expect much contingency at this point in the year.
yeah,
So it probably was miscoded in there.
right. And the other thing was the legal for the sewer. You have nothing down. I've got $822.50. So somebody should probably take a look at it, or the muni system, make sure that's getting into the right place.
Okay, I'll have them look at that.
Okay. Thank you. That was it.
Any other questions? Do we normally ask for a motion to accept the financial?
Yeah, we started.
Have a motion to accept the financial report?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Okay. Invoices. Invoice for October 13th in the amount of $112,283.83. I'll make that motion. Have a second.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Towards the rear. There's right Pierce, 2 for right Pierce, Weston, Sampson, and Gorilla.
While some of the members are looking at that, can I ask Tom Veal a question about a couple of these invoices?
Sure.
Again, I would have called earlier, but it's been a real bad day, so. I was looking at the invoices. I gotta tell you something. I'm not an accountant. I never wanted to be an accountant. I know enough to use a calculator. That's about it. But I'm looking at Wright Pierce's bills here. And I'm looking at the backside of the bills where it has the specifics. I can't figure out how they added these numbers up. I mean, I don't think I'm stupid. I tried going through and adding the numbers. Like, let's look at the first invoice. I mean, for SCADA. It says that what's due is $10,136.04. And you go on the back and you look at the numbers for, the engineer tech, the office assistant, the project engineer. And then it looks like there's a total. And then there's another project engineer. And it looks like there's another total. But when you add everything up, I don't see where they're getting the $10,136.04. I mean, is this an engineering thing that I'm missing here, or what's going on here? I don't get it. And it's the same thing for the next one on Berkshire Field test well. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marty, I haven't added them, so I don't doubt that you're saying they didn't add.
Oh, let me make this clear. I don't doubt that that's the right amount on the bottom, whatever it ended up being. I just can't figure out how they arrived at that number with these numbers on the back. See, they got the dotted lines, and you'd think that above that is what was total. Well, it's not. They didn't total like I'm looking at the project engineer, 18.5 hours, and it's got 2983.91. And then below that, it's got project engineer again, half an hour, and then 7.75 hours. And there's I can't figure out.
Yeah. Oh, well, Marty, it looks like the total project engineer was fees was $3,900. And then they had a project manager for $1,700. And then it looks like maybe another project manager, that might be Maris on top of that for another $365.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but when you add them all up, it doesn't come out right. I don't. Whatever. I don't want to hold the meeting up. I just was looking at it and said, I don't.
I got you. They got hold the project engineer.
Yeah, you would think 3,900 and the 5443.
Yes, I would agree. Now, maybe there was an expense in there, a travel expense or printing or something, but it should be identified.
Well, they have an auto expense of $5 down the bottom. Is that $5? No, $55. But I just, like I said, I tried at, if you add all the numbers up the top, all right, and then you add the 298.91, and then you add the 1627.47, I think it comes to certainly a greater, I don't.
Yeah, it's weird on the well test, when you add up all the, starting at the 290 down,
Yeah,
you get like almost 3,300 and they
Right.
total that at 2,900.
right.
Um,
That's what I'm getting at. I can't figure out how they arrived at the number. And like I said, I don't doubt, I'm not questioning what they should be paid. I'm just trying to figure out how they added this up, because I can't figure it out.
I think the format of the bill leaves a little to be desired, so,
Yeah, I think so.
my suggestion, maybe approve it with a not to exceed amount. I will get on the phone with them tomorrow and I will bring up all of this
Fine.
and get them to make sure that their numbers add up and everything that's to be included is included on the piece of
And
paper.
it's specified, line going across.
Yeah, if it's travel, if it's printing, if it's whatever it is.
Cause the SCADA bill, the backup only adds up to like $790 less than their total of 136.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't, I tried several different ways to add them up. I couldn't figure it out.
Well, again, it should be identified.
Yeah,
I know Weston and
I would
Sampson
just
bills,
take it
they
off
have
the bill.
that in there and you can
Yep.
follow it.
Yeah. Yes. Take it off. the
All right.
bill.
Yeah, and for the 93,44,64, that's what it adds up to.
there may be a good reason
Yeah.
and Tom may just need an updated bill.
Right.
If there is an overhead piece that wasn't in there, but to Tom's point, if you approved it at the not to exceed. And have him get a real backup for it.
Yeah, if they made a mistake and it should be less, then we've already approved them not to exceed, it'll come in under. If it comes in over, then we'll pay them the amount and they'll have to,
And I only,
straighten that out with me at a later date.
I only suggest that because the invoice date on it is 9/7. The PUC doesn't meet again for another month,
Right,
so
all right,
I
well,
understand if it's their fault and I have to wait, but I think.
Kathy, do we have a motion on the table yet?
You made the motion, if you want to second it.
All right, well, modify the motion to say that we will pay Wright Pierce invoice number 1020, they're both 1024.
I think what Tom said was good, not to exceed that amount, and then he can check it out.
All right, just make an amendment to the motion that the two Wright Pierce bills pay not to exceed that dollar amount that's indicated on line 1 and 2. Is that okay?
Okay.
And for clarification, from Wright Pierce.
Okay.
Any other comments on the invoices?
What's this Guerrero is, right, Guerrero Construction, is that project just about done?
That about completed it. They had to come back, do the final paving, curbing, sidewalks.
Just one,
So we're gonna end up coming in under the contract amount on
all
that.
right,
This is up to 86% complete,
I saw, it, yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
All those in favor of accepting the invoices for $112,283.83. You by saying aye,
All right.
opposed, carried. Thank you.
Brad, you got a calculator in your hand?
Yes,
Add up those top numbers under the,
so I just added up,
3,900, because I get 4,690.
so I just added up the 290.51 through the 663.52. And I get 3299.60.
You just ended up what numbers?
So if you're looking at the well test. Which invoice are you
Well, we're
looking at?
looking at the SCADA still.
Alright, so the SCADA one I was going back to, but I said that one was off $791.40. But I didn't add up the numbers. I think I just took their 3,900
Well,
plus the
they
54.
didn't add the top number that they've got 3,988.
Yeah,
Should be more like 4,690.
so that's probably where they're off the,
They left the line out.
yeah. My guess is that they're the same invoice number.
No, I think they're different numbers.
They
The
had
SCADA one is 223,100.
Yeah.
And Bergstrom is 222,840, 804.
Yeah, I wonder if when they create, if they're manually creating their invoices and they don't have a system that does it.
I'm not sure, but
If
I'll,
somebody typed the number in wrong.
That says a lot about an engineering firm.
Yeah.
Their numbers together.
I know, but
Scary.
hopefully it's the accounting department.
All right, is everybody still happy with what we did?
Sure.
All right. We'll go back and look at it. All right, new business, consideration and award of contract for Bergstrom well water treatment plant project. In your packet, there's a memo from Ray Pierce, and I'll turn it over to Tom for.
Okay, so in the packet is a recommendation letter and a bid summary for the Bergstrom well water treatment plant. We got two bids. The low bidder was Kovacs at $9,988,250. And we also got a bid from D'Amato Construction at $11,157,972. So Wright Pierce has gone through their piece in terms of checking recommendations, checking with their banking, and they're making a recommendation that we award the contract to Kovacs. If you look on the cover of their letter, they also put in what their opinion of cost was, or their latest opinion of cost was somewhere in the middle. So, you know, in a better day, it might have been a much easier number to swallow, but at least I think we got a couple of good contractors, you know, to submit bids on it.
What did we originally estimate?
You know what, Dino, that number has changed probably every 6 months when I got an update. When we jumped in, before we even started doing the pilot testing, I think we were around like 6 million.
Yeah.
So it's escalated over the 2 years.
Yeah, we weren't thinking of all the water treatment that we had to do to that water originally.
Well, originally,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I mean, I can share this with you now. It's something we provided a while back, but in looking at Bergstrom, we're qualified to get 1.15 million gallons per day out of that source. So what I've done in the past is taken a look at like the cost of a treatment system, okay? And then put each alternative on an equal standing, like say per million gallons a day of water. So for instance, if you look at Eureka, okay, and I'm going back to the capital plan that Wright Pierce put together, you know, 2014. And we've escalated then at 5% a year. So the Eureka treatment plant, to upgrade it with today's dollars, we have 4.81 million. But it's only a 1/3 of a million gallon per day safe yield. So when you look at it on a per million gallon, multiply that number by 3, or you're dividing it by 0.33. So the cost per million gallons per day for Eureka would be $14.57 million. If you look at Chestnut, again, the yield is even less. It's 0.17 million gallons a day, based on what that reservoir can yield. The cost of improvements there at today's dollars is like 6.36 million. Divide by the yield of 0.17 to get you on what's the cost per million gallons of yield? $37 million. When you look at Bergstrom, we've got a construction cost of say 9.9, but we're able to get 1.15. So when you divide by 1.15, it's $8.59 million per million gallons a day. So it's kind of hard to think about it, but if you try to think about it that way, at least you're putting them on equal standings.
If you look at Chestnut, you don't have the capacity you had 10 years ago. It's all gone to vegetation. You don't have the water capacity.
And that may be true. I mean, whatever the yield was determined, that was done, you know, 20 plus years ago.
But will you have to go, if you upgraded that, you would have to go reverse osmosis?
You may go to some kind of membrane filtration. You may go to some rapid sand filtration.
They're pushing out like that.
DAF is the other kind of
Yeah,
dissolved air flotation, so.
Yeah.
So it's a big number, but I'll have these numbers available. So we can at least compare what the three, if you don't do Bergstrom, you gotta do something
What
else.
would you do with first as well? Tie it into the main system,
Oh, yeah,
or would you tie it into Chestnut system?
no, it's gonna go into the main system. We're gonna use South Street to pump up to the upper level,
You still have to use something.
correct? For the Chestnut system. This way now you don't have to use Chestnut Reservoir.
Hey, Tom.
Take care of Chestnut.
Well, it's over the,
It's gonna serve our whole system.
Yeah.
Chestnut's only like 20% of our demand.
I understand.
Right.
But you-
And to pump it directly up into Chestnut, we've already looked at this and it's the cost of running that line all the way up to Chestnut. It was not cost prohibitive, it was cost prohibitive.
all right, let's move along. And so, I'll put a motion on the table that we award the contract for the, Bergstrom well treatment plant to Kovacs Construction Corporation in the amount of $9,988,250. Wow, no cents on this one.
Yeah.
Can I have a second? For this?
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion on the motion?
Just out of curiosity, what's our annual? How much water do we?
Our average day is about probably around 0.9 MGD.
So we do 350 million gallons. a year.
Yeah, 325, we're in that ballpark, exactly.
10 years, it's a lot of money per gallon for this project, not for its potential, but for its action.
Yeah, and I know when we were kind of getting going on this project, the numbers were comparative to other green sand filter plants. I think, there's not a lot being built. I think Southington is a little behind us. They're doing the same thing for one of their wells. We went and visited Meriden and their plant was, were you at that one, Gail? Was it like the 1980s, I think? So it's been around a while. They've upgraded the media. They used to have just green sand. Now they have green sand plus, and you don't have to add the potassium permanganate, and it's a little bit.
Yeah.
So the cost on this type of treatment is per million gallons is about where we're at.
Now, what's the cost for Wright Pierce through the construction case?
Well, that's another.
That's our next item on the
That's on the next
agenda.
agenda.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's a lot in that if you look it over.
So anyways, let's vote on this.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right,
The other motion I think we need to make is to forward it on to the Board of Selectmen, if you're ready for that.
well, yeah, we can do that now, but. All right, I'll make a motion that we forward this, award this contract to the Board of Selectmen. To award the bid to Kovacs. And. It doesn't go to the finance, it just goes to the Board of Selectmen, correct? Correct?
No, that's not correct.
No.
What you're forwarding to the Board of Selectmen is to approve the monies, or in this case, the guaranteeing of the cost. I mean, the PUC has the authority all by themselves to contract with whoever you want. In this case, you're asking the town to guarantee that you'll raise the money, that's all. So
Right,
that's
so-
what it's going to, and then what happens is it goes from the Board of Selectmen, you have to send it to the Board of Finance, because even though it's not an actual out-of-pocket expense, it's the same thing. The town is committed to come up with the money.
Right, so if I can get this right, we don't have to forward the awarding of the contract to them, but the other number, when we get done tonight, the total amount, which is going to be around 12 million,
For both,
will
yeah.
go to the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, Marty, what we did when we forwarded that is we took the total, which is the construction, the contingency, the professional services, and the legal services.
Right.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to make that motion now or.
well,
or you
no,
wanna do the other item.
let's do,
Might as well approve the second piece.
Correct.
yeah, we got to do the
Correct.
second piece first, and then,
I agree.
and did you bring that larger number, the information with that larger number?
I have all the
Oh,
pieces
all right.
that go into that number.
Okay, all right. Next on the agenda is consideration of Wright Pierce addendum to number
Finalize
4.
that.
I'm sorry.
You made a motion, but nobody seconded it.
Well,
Withdraw.
No, because it,
You-
Didn't apply,
Okay,
take it
okay,
back.
So you're taking it, okay.
But the first motion of awarding the Kovacs.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But the motion to move to Board of Selectmen is null and void. Consideration of the Rice Pierce amendment to number 4 contract administration services for the Bergstrom well treatment plant. There's information in your packet about the addendum to number 4 for the Bergstrom well administration. And I'll turn it over to Tom again.
Okay, I'm sure you've looked at what was in the packet and their construction admin estimate with all the parts that are involved totals $1,171,524. That includes some consultants for concrete work and for the foundation preparation. If you went through, they gave you a spreadsheet of how they're breaking out all those costs and all the different tasks. They basically were gonna have,
If you could read it.
Yeah, it's too small.
yeah, it was a little small.
No,
I broke it down and put them in some kind of an order. The most expensive item was that the bottom item there. And it was the full-time inspection. So they're gonna have a full-time inspector for 18 months
Really?
on site.
Is that necessary?
Well, you've got the contractor working daily and, once they start getting into it, on this kind of a job. Yeah, you want them out there. I know like with the Chestnut tank. We didn't need them there daily, but a project like this that has so many different trades. I think we're well served to have that in place. Some of the other big items, shop drawings, they're estimating 225 separate shop drawings that are gonna have to get reviewed and approved. They're assuming some things too, so requests for information. They're assuming 50 requests for information, formal requests from the contractor that they'll have to respond to. So on all of these items, they may or may not exceed. They're giving this to me as a not to exceed. And I've told Marius I'd like him to set up his billing to identify, to bill it out at those items. So we can see, in other words, if only 200 shop drawings come in, I'm hoping that that number's less.
Right, that will only be billed for.
Exactly. Now, again, some of this stuff you don't know until you have the contractor. For instance, contractor could be a tough contractor to deal with and is looking to submit extra, requests for information, or is submitting shop drawings on material that wasn't spec'd, but is an equal. Now they've got to do more due diligence to review it to see if it's approvable or not. So, they're going to give us the an O&M manual at the end. They're going to give us the record drawings at the end. They're going to give us all reviews of the contractor payment applications. They're going to be doing the monthly meetings with the contractor, just trying to keep everything, organized and on track. So there's a lot of disciplines. There's electrical, mechanical, instrumentation, building components, concrete, the framing. So there's a lot there. Prior to even getting into this, I did get all of the engineering services to be approved by DPH. So we were, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever I did it, I was able to get all of the design work, including the construction admin costs, rolled into the project. And of that big number, we've already spent over 600,000 on the pilot study, the preliminary engineering, and the design work.
We haven't borrowed any money for that, right?
No,
No, that's in the big number that we're gonna present.
right. You do that loan, Marty, one time, and it would be after you get the construction. So we fronted all of that design money at this point.
All right.
All right,
So if the big number is gonna be 12.2, we've already spent 0.6.
Well, where do you get 12.2?
Well, we didn't detail that out yet,
we haven't
but
got there yet. it's gonna be the
Alright.
construction and admission, legal.
It's construction, contingency,
Okay, so
professional
you're putting
services, and
okay,
legal.
I got
And
it.
I'll break all that down for the
Okay.
motion.
All right, I'll put a motion on the table that we approve Wright Pierce amendment number 4 to the Bergstrom well water treatment plant in the amount of $1,171,524, and that includes $53,025 in some consultant costs. May I have the second? I maybe would like to make a little amendment to it that if possible, if they can reduce the on-site supervision, depending on the construction schedule. There's nobody working there. We don't need
Understood.
anybody there.
Understood.
Okay,
They assumed a 24-month construction period and they'd have him, their guy there 18 months.
yeah, well, all right, well,
So if I can
but
get
if
them,
we
to-
can look,
if I can
look at
get
it.
that less, obviously I will.
if there's not a lot going on, if we could reduce it,
Yeah,
save something.
having such a tough time reading this that,
Why did she say that?
Any other discussion on the motion?
yeah, I want to see the numbers. Seriously, I mean, I cannot read what they, the writing is just way too small.
Brad,
390 work
does Mary
days.
Little's copier blow up the numbers?
390 work days for the full-time guy.
There, it is,
Could ask her, please.
they've got 18 months, 78 weeks, or 390 work days at an average of 40 hours per week. That's in the verbiage also, not
Yes,
just the
I'm
spreadsheet.
trying to, okay.
Oh, you're looking at the whole thing on your phone. Oh, good luck.
Well, what I did was I blew it up, so I took a picture.
Got it.
And that's 300 and some odd $1,000 for 390 days.
That is, and I don't have my cheaters on, so I gotta extend my arms. The total there is 373, 464. And that hourly rate is,
It was just under $1,000 a day.
hours. I'm not seeing where the hours.
371 divided by 390 is,
Okay,
just under $1,000 a day. Does that sound realistic?
$200 an hour. Yeah.
oh, here it is. Up here. He is $38 an hour. But add your overhead and profit, and that's where that's
So 38 becomes 100.
pretty much. The multipliers are typically three.
If you can get it.
Right.
I've been asked this question before and looked at Weston and Sampson, looked at Wright Pierce, looked at others. The multipliers are on the order of 3.
Yeah.
No, nobody's as bad as Weston and
That
Sampson.
guy with that gun.
What's that, Marty?
I said nobody's as bad as Weston and Sampson. Go back and look at their invoice. It's outrageous. You know, the numbers are just astronomical, what they add for overhead and their profit and whatever else they have.
They're both on par, Marty, Weston and Wright. They have different overheads. One has a higher overhead and a lower profit and vice versa. The multiplier comes out to about 3, give or take. That's been, go back 20 years or go back.
The bank robber has a gun.
It doesn't make it right.
No, I'm just saying that's what you're getting.
It's not what I used to use at work.
Kathy, did I also mention not to exceed?
You
My
didn't
motion.
say not to exceed,
Yes, please.
so not to exceed the 1 million.
Thank you.
Okay, well, assuming that their math is correct on this. one. I'll look at it.
I'll have my calculator out tomorrow, double checking.
All
But
right.
I did add up their column to come out to the total.
Yeah.
Well, to make a comparative, put your calculator 17 feet away from it
Yeah.
while you're pushing the buttons.
All right, but you will convey our concern to
Yes.
Rick Pierce.
Yeah.
About the inspection time. It is a small project. It's not a 300,000 square foot building we're putting in there.
But there's some tankage, there's
Yeah.
2 separate pump stations, there's, you know. Couple, you know, of a decent sized water main, a sewer force main.
Yeah, good things come in small packages, got it.
Um, it- If there's much more paperwork coming from Ray Pierce, would you please inform them that I'm the acting for selectman.
I will have that agenda.
I'll just cross this out and put acting in it.
I can get another copy of it.
Well, if you want,
Yeah, that's fine.
and are you okay now with that? Peter? All those in favor of the motion? Aye, opposed, carried, thank you. All right, why don't we go into you want to do the large number now? Or you want to go into the PC capital seven?
I would just piggyback on and forward the project to Board of Selectmen with the total project cost.
All right,
Larry, could do a small.
Bigger.
Thank you.
thank you. Much better.
Johnny on the spot.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
I only have to hold my arms out half as far.
All right, I'll give the floor to Tom to lay out the total project cost.
Okay, what I did, just so you know where I'm coming from is, I looked at the motion we made for Chestnut Tank, Marty. And I'm just gonna substitute in the wording and the numbers. So I'm gonna basically follow the same structure. So the motion would read, that the Public Utilities Commission approves and forwards to the Board of Selectmen for consideration the total project cost for Bergstrom Well Water Treatment Plant in the amount of $12,290,057 and no cents, which includes $9,988,250 and no cents for construction, $499,413 for contingency, $1,786,394 for professional services, and $16,000 for legal fees.
Were you able to get all that?
Yeah, I just have.
Yeah, I have it, and I'll get it to Kat.
Okay,
So it's not in the package anywhere, you're just reading it off. I'm not gonna find it written anywhere.
No. As I explained, I took the Chestnut Tank
Right.
project, which was 1.8 million, so we had to do the same thing. Go to Board of Selectmen, we needed a referendum and all that. So I used the same structure of the language of the motion and just substituted in those numbers. I can read it back again too, if you'd like.
I want to ask you one other question on this.
well, let's put it on the table then.
Yeah, do it.
All right, so move. Tom's wordage for the motion for the total project of the water treatment, Bergstrom Water Treatment Plant of $12,290,057. Take the $57. No. All right, can I have a second?
Second,
Okay, discussion.
yeah.
How much was the contingency
I'm
again?
inspector here, right?
Sorry,
We're gonna
How
have a
much-
full-time inspector, right? How come we're gonna have a periodic inspector for 24 hours? And then we have number 6,
you're gonna have
we
some
have a
different,
site visit.
you're gonna have some different people coming out at different times.
Probably the
Doing what?
There's different specialties.
What? Did they list what their specialties are?
There's electrical, there's mechanical, there's instrumentation.
I can just-
You got the process engineer, there's structural.
Well, you think they would have broken down if they let us know who they are.
It did.
All right, Marty, you had a question?
Well, I got a couple of questions. How much was the contingency again?
It's 5% of the low bid. So it's 499,413.
I got it. And all these numbers together also include what the PUC is also outlaid for to date, 600 and some thousand.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah, the professional services number is 1,786,394. That's this amendment number 4 and the previous amendments going all the way back to the pilot study.
one last question. How much do you expect to get in the form of a grant for this?
Unknown at this point, Marty. There's a lot going on at the state in terms of, you know, the infrastructure monies that are coming from the feds. They're kind of reworking how they're gonna divvy out some of that money. They want to earmark a lot of it towards PFAS, which is an emerging contaminant, it doesn't impact us. So they're still kind of coming up with how they're going to give out what the grant component's going to be. So I'm not going to know that yet. The way it's written right now, we're limited to about $250,000 as a grant. So I'm hoping that we're going to get something more than that as grant money.
Not even worth
Well, I'll take it.
it. You know, I would say,
2% loan though, the
Yeah.
current rates are a lot higher than that.
sure.
Tom, can we just go over the Wright Pierce number again?
Yes,
The 1.171 number that is for
Amendment 4.
Amendment 4.
Okay.
Is that just for the administration of the construction?
That amendment 4 is the construction admin for the project.
All right,
So
so what's the other dollar amount we've already spent on?
we've spent to date $614,870.
So we have to add that to everything.
It
correct?
is, and when I
It
did,
is.
when I worded the
Where's it?
motion, the professional services was $1,786,394. So it included the
Oh.
money we've already spent on design.
All right, so in this total here that for the 12, we should change that to the 1,000,007 for Wright Pierce.
Yeah, that's the motion I read. I can go over it again
All right,
if you want.
if you would, please.
Okay, rather than reading the whole thing, let me just give you the numbers. And then
Yeah.
I can read the
Yeah.
whole thing if you want. The total, 12,290,057,
Correct.
which includes construction, 9,988,250,
Correct.
contingency of 5%. It's 499,413.
All right.
Professional services, 1,786,394.
All right, well, there's one. 1781, what,
1,786,394.
6?
And if you want, I can give you the two pieces that make up that number, what we've spent.
Yeah, and the new number.
Okay, but the last
I
number,
don't think we need that.
all right,
so.
the last number that gets us to the 12,000,002 is I estimated 16,000 in legal fees.
Even,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? So, you know, we sell bottled water by the 8 ounces. I'm gonna take the can back.
It'd be cheaper to give them water to drink. Oh,
Okay, all right.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Dino's crushing numbers over there.
Once we start construction, we start getting payments from the state, right? Before it closes.
When we sign the contract, well,
Yeah.
what I will do now concurrently is submit this to the state for them to approve us signing the contract with Kovacs, which I don't anticipate any issue there. Following that, you get into the loan. The initial thing is the IFO, interim funding obligation. So shortly hereafter, after it's all signed, so say early part of 23, we should be figuring out how much of it is gonna be loan, how much of it is grant.
Yeah, I'm just thinking from a cash flow standpoint.
From a cash flow, I anticipated not having to pay Wright Pierce or Kovacs a whole heck of a lot early on.
But like, so we pay Kovacs the first bill, how long until the state funds us?
Well, Kovacs' first bill probably won't even be until after January.
Yeah, well, I don't really care when it is. I care about the spread between.
It
what we
does.
pay
He
Kovacs.
needs to lay out.
It's gonna be such,
Okay.
he's got $5 million, and nothing coming in.
The way it works, and it's gonna work the same way it's been since I've been doing this.
Yeah, they just haven't been as big, so it hasn't.
When they give me a bill, okay, I have until the second day of the month to submit it to the state.
Okay,
And they pay us by about the 20th day of the month.
okay,
So if I can get them to get me billed and we approve, see. Our PUC meeting is gonna be a second Thursday of a month.
Mhm.
So we'll approve, let's just say it's October right now. Let's just say September's bill will get approved in the middle of October.
Yeah.
I'll submit it to the state by November 2nd. And we'll get paid for the September bill from the state by November 20th.
alright,
So there won't be a lag, and I will do that monthly.
Yeah.
Each bill I get in. And with the other thing I'll be able to do right up front is the 600 and some odd thousand we've already spent on Wright Pierce design work.
you'll be able to get-
I will submit for that right up front. So we're gonna get an inflow of cash,
That'll give us some cash flow.
totally.
Is it
I-
is it possible to use any of the sewer money? I mean, kind of borrow the sewer money?
It's, the general fund has cash. Because we have a healthy fund balance.
Yeah.
I just wanted, I was pretty sure this wasn't the case, but I know the Board of Finance would ask about it. Is we're not outlaying $12 million before the state sends us anything.
Yeah.
No,
I
Like
didn't
the-
think that was the case.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, we would have to do a short-term borrowing. Because the town can't put out $12 million
No.
without anything coming
Yeah.
back.
the bulk of the construction is gonna be in 2023 and probably into 2024.
As long
So,
as there's like that 45 to 60 days,
yes,
well, probably 30 days between possibly when we pay it to when we get reimbursed. We're
Yeah.
okay.
and like I said, I do that paperwork on
Yeah.
a monthly basis. As soon as I get a bill that's been approved, I submit it to the state, but they don't do anything with it till the following month.
Yeah.
So there'll be a little lag, but that won't be long.
But they can probably do a rough cash flow projection for us,
Yeah,
you know, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, as long as we're. Because I haven't seen, we don't have a contract yet with Kovacs, but I don't know what terms they have in there. But if necessary, we'll be 45, 60-day payers.
Yeah.
You know, if we can do that in the contract, but we're not to that point yet.
well, again, let me use this month. If they, for the work they did say in September.
Yeah.
We're approving it at an middle of October meeting.
Yeah.
Even if we paid them at the end of October, 30 days after they submitted their invoice.
Yeah.
We're gonna get paid within 30 days from the state.
Yeah, so, yeah, so as long as we're in like a 1 month flow.
Yes.
As long as that 1 month isn't $4 million,
Yeah.
which I doubt it will be.
I don't know what the contract is gonna read
Yeah.
as far as payments.
So,
We don't have to pay them the week though that we approve it. I think we have,
Yeah.
we probably have a 30-day, I assume,
It's
either
probably, yeah.
a 20 to a 30-day window.
Because of the size of the project, we'll have to look at when Kovac sends us a contract
Mhm.
and see what language is in there. And then obviously that'll go to Marty, and that's one of the things we'll talk about, Marty, is what kind of terms they have in there. Just to make sure if there is 1 month that is really big, we may wait that month until the state's paid us. So.
A lot of the contracts we're getting now, we're trying to stretch them out to 45-day pays.
So, but the problem, even, that's not too bad, because then you're really talking about like 5 days. Because their bill is gonna be billed October 1. PUC is gonna approve it October 12th or whatever. If we pay it November 15th and the state pays us November 20th, you're only talking about a 5-day float. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So, and the town has enough cash flow to cover those floats. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to think of project. If there's one month that there's a huge expenditure,
There probably will in this
Yeah.
kind of a project, because the plant was a lump sum, so now they're gonna have to come up with some kind of schedule of values for that. But the plant was like a $7 million item.
Yeah.
Now, they're gonna be building that out over time, so
Yeah.
that's not gonna get built in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
But there'll be some months where the bills are gonna be higher than other
Right,
months, for
because
sure.
they're gonna buy tanks ahead of time,
so.
okay.
We right, for a little cash flow, having to do that, that'd be great. In all this work and going back to our conversation before the meeting started, do they supply us with a list of recommended maintenance, spare parts, et cetera, as part of this package,
Yeah, we're gonna get an O&M manual on the plant,
including
and
preventive maintenance,
and some spare parts will be included.
including preventive maintenance procedures?
Yes, I will make sure that gets hammered in there.
I mean,
Can I ask one more question?
What, Marty?
Yeah, just one more question, just a general idea. How long, and maybe the question, this question is for Brad. What are we talking about for a number of years that we're gonna bond this for? Or get the loan?
2% for 20 years. So we can't get that low right now in the open market.
Right,
So 2% at 20 years sounds great right now. So, and that helps us when we do a rate study. Because then the payback on it is over 20 years and you're not. Your debt service is gonna jump. You can't spend $12 million and not have your debt service jump. But over 20 years, it'll be more manageable than 10.
well, yeah, it's gonna cost us $1 million a year for
Yeah.
20 years.
So,
Do we have to put financial costs, financing costs in here?
because it's the state loan, it's just been the legal. And it's been like 10 to 20, depending on how big of a loan it is. So I think Tom's number of 16 is.
I think I plugged in 8 the last 2 projects, and I think their bills were probably closer to 12. So I just put in 16. It really shouldn't be based on the dollar value, because I think they spend about the same amount of time to close the loan.
Yeah.
So I think 16 should cover
Yeah.
at least the legal
Yeah,
time.
having a little bit of cushion in there because the size of it, sometimes the size of the bonding
Yeah.
causes them additional work.
Right.
So 16 is a good number, I feel like.
Yeah.
And you have other contingencies in there too.
So another thing to think about too is the contingency. It's $500,000 in contingency. So the big number of 12 million two, we've already spent 0.6, and the contingency is 0.5. So with luck, maybe that 12.2 is gonna be more like 11.
Yeah.
Or closer to 11.
All right, so, and this also includes running the lines connecting to Judd Avenue and all that stuff. It's
Yeah,
not- It's the entire package.
it's yes, the force main is gonna tie into the sewer on Plum Trees, and the water main will tie in at Plum Trees as
Okay.
well.
Right.
So all the valving, hydrant, the whole
Okay,
nut.
I was just wanting to make sure that.
Oh, yeah.
That this wasn't the plant only.
Even though it's a minor amount, when we decide on the paving, we're just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
gravel.
That was
We're not-
back in my
Yeah,
mind.
we're leaving it as is.
Paving the road back there has been on. Park and Rec's plan for a while.
Yeah.
So obviously with this going on and the line having to go in. We wouldn't rush to pave it before this is done.
It's way down on the list, I'm sure. If there's any blacktop left over from the job. Anyway, no, it's. All right, any other questions?
yes, just one more, and then I'll leave everybody alone. How many users do we have?
Okay.
I didn't hear.
How many users?
How many users do we have?
We have approximately 3,800 water customers.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a rough idea what it's gonna cost each user a year.
Is that probably about $300 per user?
Oh, it's less than that.
I didn't do the math, but
Well, that's the next question. Is this factor into the rate? that we're working on?
Yeah, I took, we're still working with the consultant a little bit. He's given us a couple of proposals. The one that probably is gonna make the most sense is just an across the board. And I plugged in these numbers and we're still gonna be on the plus side as far as cash flow. We may not be able to continue to pay back the town at the frequency that maybe we thought we might, but we're gonna still be plus, on the plus side for cash flow.
Does that count the schools? Are the schools exempt?
No.
No, they
they
pay, everybody
pay.
pays a water bill.
And what's the use up there? You know what the use up there is?
I'd have to look at the accounts.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that and the town pays us for the hydrants.
And they have a fire service, so they pay their domestic water and their
Right,
fire
right,
service.
that's-
charge.
Yeah, because, you got a lot of users up there.
No, they pay a bill. Everybody pays a bill.
As somebody that also handles the town budget, would you like to waive that for the town? Because that would help the budget.
We don't even like wait, we don't even want to pay for the billing.
That's a good one. Easy, Brad.
All right,
I heard the loans over you.
there's the door.
We'll throw that back at you.
All right, we have to be careful. All right, any other questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Geez.
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, would you allow me to step in with this?
Yes.
I've got a main break going out. on
Okay.
Henry Street right now. So, is it okay?
Yes,
No, that's no problem.
And just so you know, we got a 12 or 8-inch main just let go on Henry Street about 4:15. And we had it off by 4:45, but it did a lot of damage to the road. So I've got 2 of my guys over there now. We've got the water shut off and we're waiting for Tinker to come and make a repair. I'm guessing it's a circle break, but it was a lot of water, so I won't know until we get down to it. That means only from the 80s. I'm gonna guess it's stopped, but I don't know. So we'll find out when we get down to it. There's 2 mains. There's an 8 and a 12. They feed, both of them feed the 8-inch line that goes back to Shepherd's. So it was good amount, good flow. So there is some damage to the road, but we'll make it safe for tonight. I've got a couple things. Car Park 1, the gate's been changed, $2,800. It's all set, looks good. They did it. I haven't looked at a couple other stations in town also. Tom, if I'm jumping on any of your stuff.
No, go ahead, do your thing.
Payne Road. They got back to me with the 2 pumps that they're gonna rebuild. One can be rebuilt for $5,300. The other one can be built for $7,200 for $1,259. That'll give us 2 new pumps, which means we'll have a spare. But the brand new pump that we had to buy, of course, shipping wise, because we got it so quickly, was almost $16,000. So we're ahead of the game with 2 new valves, 2 more pumps. Plus we'll have a spare for that station. Eventually, I want to have a spare for every station. Right now, we have a spare in Berkshire. We have a spare in Payne Road, and I want to look into see which one of these, if any of these pumps can be spares for any of the other stations. The only other station I think it might work out would be Walnut. Because it's not a heavy lift, but it's pretty far. I mean,
It's a long way.
it's the whole length of we,
Yeah.
and that's when it goes back to gravity where it hits Route 6.
Yeah, over there.
So I'm hoping that it's close enough that we could use it in a pension now, but that's something we'll have to look into. But before I tell them to repair the 2 pumps, I want your permission to do it, and again, Rich, we talked a little bit this morning about it quickly. And I just think it's good to have a spare pump at every station. Another issue I have with those 2 stations, there's no bypass. We overlooked the bypasses when those 2 stations were done. So I've been talking to Kovacs, who installed the one down at Paul Street, and I think I'm gonna put a bypass in there. So if we ever do need to if we need to draft out of the wet well, we can pump it right back into the system through a series of fittings.
The spare pump then may,
What's that? Yeah, just.
yeah,
okay.
spare
that's
pump
what I talked to
could be
Kelly this
utilized.
morning about, maybe one of those spare pumps we can,
Well, that's. what I'm
fire
thinking.
hose and
I'm
plug it
thinking
in.
maybe Walnut, but I don't know, I know it won't work at
How
Barton
how
Park.
is that pump station?
What's that?
Which one?
13, I think, 2013, I think both of those were done. They're mirrored of each other, but it doesn't mean the pumps are the same. I'm just guessing the distance. and it's
You
going.
got any problems with rags over there and stuff?
Really, no, not in the two new stations, not that bad. We're still pumping them down every 3 months, you know, and get all the solids out of there. We're taking them right down to nothing. And then take it from there. We've got good luck with that. Plus, we're putting enzymes to eat up the grease. But those stations, we don't have an issue with grease.
They're using a disposable now, you know?
Yeah.
The wipes.
But we're in a pretty good way out in the stations there. Well, if you guys will authorize me to get these 2 pumps rebuilt, I like to do it.
You gotta have.
We need one of them,
Yeah.
but for the amount of money.
Yeah.
I know the only difference in the 2 rebuilds were, the stator was bad and water. And I think that's what bumped it up, but it's the same thing done to both pumps. They're gonna put new impellers in them, brand new bearings, new seals. And I think a new cable, I think they've got to put a new cable on. But the only difference in the 2 repairs is the stator. So I'm guessing that's a $2,000.
Do you have to rotate them impellers so often? You have to rotate them?
Well, we do lead lag and switch it back. You
Yeah.
know, every couple of weeks we'll switch it back, but they're both set up on, all the stations are set up on lead lag.
The stator in the pump or stator in the electric motor?
In the pump. Yes, the
Well,
electric
motor,
motor going
and
to the
so,
pump,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it isn't the electric.
But that was our issue there. And so if you guys will authorize that, I'd like to
Oh, all
move
right,
forward on that.
the 53 and 7,200.
Yeah, it's 12,590 for the 2.
All right, we'll do that.
Tuesday, we had a field trip to Trumbull to look at these submersible pumps. This is a pump by Fleet. It was salesman from Fleet there, Kovacs, and of course, you know, all our guys went down. Richie went down with us. Tom went with us, and it's an impressive pump. They have dropped. They had 100 horsepower pumps in there, and they have dropped these down to 40, and they're getting a better flow out of them. They gave us a little bit of breakdown on the grinders. They had rag problems there with the same thing where they have to go into the pumps and clean them once a week. They said they actually had a piece of steel go into one of them. That's the only one they had taken apart, but they've been in since 2019. They've got a different design where it forces the rags through and sends them downstream. So it'll get to Danbury's if we have an issue. But again, it's all in planning states. This was a dog and pony show put on for us, and very impressed. Plus for sealed units. That was, I think, the big thing. I think, Tom, you said in the 5 years you've been here, we've changed those seals 5 times at $5,000 a piece. There's no seals. It's a complete sealed unit. So we're in the thought stage right now. We're gonna have Flight come out. We want to make sure it's somehow adapted to our variable drives. Wanda doesn't think so. Flight thinks maybe, but we're gonna have their technical person come out and see whether it's, because the VFDs we have now, pretty sure it was 2014 when they were changed. But that's where we stand with that. On the water side, right now, our leak that we have coming from nowhere on 37 Greenwood, it must have found another course underneath the road because it stopped showing again. But before the winter comes, when it does start coming back up, I want to do an exploratory hole over the main, because I really think that there's a tap and a service that they abandoned in the curb and did nothing with it years ago. I can't find anything in the house where it's coming through the wall, but I mean, we've done a lot of digging in that portion of the road, but I want to get in there before winter, and if they find a tap, I want to disconnect it, because I really think that's our culprit. I just got informed this morning that a main service leak on Main Street going into one of the condos over there. I just want to make sure it's not rainwater from overnight. It's puddling water over a curb stop, but it doesn't look like it's flowing. So I want to look into that a little bit. For Fleetwood Park, we've got, I'm gonna guess, I'm pretty sure they got 7 services finished. There's a total of 20. That's the number I'm going with before we shut the main down, just to make sure that we know where we stand with that. Now, I know you told us 50,000 was the magic number before we come back to you. They gave me a quote of $410 an hour for their crews for doing the services. So between the 5 days they've been there, I'm guessing 30, maybe 3,500 a day. I think we're under 20,000 right now. The only added thing that they need to put is the police and the asphalt, because that's all the hardware I'm supplying them. They went to do a couple of the long sides up above Hudson and they found galvanized. So they're gonna open dig them. What I think they did, they worked Monday and we didn't. I think they dug and put a sleeve in the ground so that they can keep a lane open while they're digging the other side. They were afraid to shoot it with the mole because of the gas on the other side of the street. Because you really got to expose the gas before you know where the machine's going.
Kel, let me just jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I know when we talked about authorizing up to 50,000, that was like in the spring, I think. So I know when I put my budget together that we approved, I just cranked in 70. I just took it as 20 services times $3,500 a piece. So just so you know, budget wise, I had put in for 70,000. We'll hopefully,
Make a mistake.
pardon? Hopefully they'll be able to bill us quick enough that we'll know where the heck we stand before they get too far.
They're behind on their billing. But I'm sure I can get a number from them, and I'm just ballparking each day they've been there. Yesterday, I was asked to go to Danbury to help administer a test for some of their employees for pipe layers. And I mentioned something today about the new plant over there. He's thinking next summer it's going to be completed, and his first comment was to me, "Oh yeah, we got to get together and figure out the finances." So I put it in his ear. I mean, we really should know before next budget season, where we stand with that. But right now, they were saying that the biggest thing, what was the phosphorus? What was the big thing they had?
The phosphorus is what they had to get online with first,
All right, yeah, they got
which
that
I think
online.
they do.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
online. Yeah, so that's kind of where we stand. Just like I said, we're plugging along on over here on Fleetwood, and we'll be done by the winter. Bobby's paving a lot of our roads. Next week or the week after, he's gonna mill them. He's doing Willow, Paul, Lindbergh, Pleasant, and Greenwood. I'm not sure how far he's going up, at Grandview, right? And then we're gonna, of course, we gotta put our risers out there and everything, but, that'll take care of that. And then he's also planning on doing Rector. And those were our mains were done, and I think he's bringing in a different company.
Have you found any lead whips?
I have, there's been a couple of them over there on Fleetwood. They found a couple whips. Who was the last pick?
On the copper and the galvanized.
Milwaukee, Maine, remember, up the hill from Hickon.
Yep, we had one there. There's a few, Pete, now, we're trying to do the records on that.
No, I
We're
mean,
doing
they
service
came
for
down
service.
about the lead whips, or
Yeah.
just, yeah.
But
The good thing is,
I keep track of them, so.
the good thing is we're not finding lead pipe. We're not finding lead
No,
service.
but I'm just saying, you keep track of them.
Yeah.
If the state wants to know.
I haven't seen any lead services here in Bethel since I've been here.
Which is
or even
good.
when I was working up here for the other company. But there have been whips, and the whips have been taken out. The problem with the whips is that the taps that go into them, they don't make an adapter. So you're going from a 1-inch tap to a 1/2-inch nipple back to a 1-inch service. It's crazy, but it's the only way you can do them without retapping the main. But we're trying to stay ahead of that.
Yeah, when they do one, I have a spreadsheet of all of our customers, and then I'm making notes. So I'm
Good.
bolding everything that I know is copper, or you knowing then that we don't have to come back and have any lead on it.
The copper I'm not concerned with, but if I find galvanized, there has to be some kind of a whip to time in, as well as brass. And we are finding some brass, but again, they've already been converted. The whip has been taken out, and the copper they've made a whip out of the copper to time it in.
Okay,
All right?
all right, good luck
You're
tonight.
back over there.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Tom, on that fleet pump, when you get a chance, can you shoot me like the series or the model number? I'm
Oh, sure.
curious to see.
Yeah.
On the pumps we're building,
No, on the one they went to see.
The flight pump that
Oh,
we
I
went to
got a
look-
I'll give you the catalog. I got a catalog in the office.
I think that's why you talk about preventive maintenance, that's part of it. That's why you gotta check all these pumps.
Well, that's why we're looking at this pump too,
Right.
because we're spending time pulling out rags. And having, you know, a pump failure because of rags and you get a high level or something like that, so. These guys are saying they haven't had any issues with these
Yeah.
pumps. He's saying Wallingford has them.
6
switched
years
all
they
over.
hadn't pulled them apart.
Right,
Yeah, I'm
Before,
just curious on the technology of it, that's all.
before you get into Tom's, I ran numbers on these invoices to circle back. So. Once you get to the total project engineer on both of them. That total just seems wrong. When you look at all the detail and add up all the detail, it matches the invoice total. So I think they manually plugged in wrong numbers, but all the detailed numbers add up to the invoice total. So I still think have Tom reach out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
get Corrected invoices to make it make sense, but it does look like the totals are probably correct.
I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna add them all up. I'll figure out what numbers are wrong. I'll get on the phone with them and say, hey, let's not do this anymore.
Okay, all right, let's move on.
They knocked down a notch in my book.
It's like, I don't wanna be embarrassed at the next meeting, so make sure you get it right.
Okay, Tom, capital project.
Okay, let's see. Sewer allocation, I don't have a real formal numbers for you, but I've been, looking at what we're using at each of the 3 locations. I went back, I looked at what Ty and Bond came up with back in 09, what Wright Pierce came up with back in 16, and now I'm doing it here. And basically, both Ty and Bond and Wright Pierce came up with the Payne Road Station. We were gonna end up, when you added in future flows, we were gonna be less than what we were supposed to be sending to Danbury. They both had us over exceeding Berkshire. Okay, I've done most of my work right now on those 2 spots. And I'm agreeing with Payne Road. I think we're gonna have extra allocation. We're not gonna use all 590,000 gallons. And Berkshire, I have us with using less than what they had, but I think we still may end up being over a little bit. Hall Street, there's just so many more properties to look at, undeveloped and so on. I haven't gotten far enough into that to really say where we're at with that. But, so I just wanted to give you an update that I'm
What about
looking
Route
into.
6?
Sorry,
How about Route 6 out of the proposed buildings?
Route 6 is Payne Road, okay, that's.
Hey,
We have 9 bigger properties that, and going over it with Beth, could be developed into like multi-unit, like we've already gotten 2 of them down. 36 Stony Hill and 48 Stony Hill. There's 7 other projects
yeah. And
that can have 40, 50, 80 units or
there's,
more.
there's probably 3 or 4 more pieces of property out there to be developed.
Correct.
But Steiner's coming in with a subdivision.
Well, Berkshire, yes. So basically what I'm saying is I'm looking at those flows. I projected those. I think we're going to be okay at Payne Road.
Yeah.
But let me get through all of Paul Street so I can kind of go over everything in one shot. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update.
Well, as we do the final allocation for the new plant in Danbury, maybe that's a time we can have a discussion with Danbury about the allocations. Can we put them all in one pot?
We can have that
If possible,
discussion, yeah.
Or, or Paul Street may have to be separate from the Stony Hill because it goes to a pumping station over in Berkshire. Maybe the pumping station in Berkshire Shopping Center can't handle more flows there.
I know Berkshire and Payne, I mean, they're getting to Danbury in separate locations. So they want to meter them at the location. That's why I think they're gonna want to stay with 3.
Yeah.
And those 2 actually then make it into the Beaver Brook Pump Station in
Right,
Danbury.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, I think our stations are gonna be able to handle the
Yeah,
flow. And probably their Beaver Brook, because I know it's been upgraded since way back when.
Yeah.
So that may not be an issue at all, but
Okay.
yes, we'll look at all of that, because they are gonna want to look at all those inter-municipal agreements. I think we're gonna probably not start from scratch, but update all of them.
Okay.
You got it.
Just a quick update, we had a customer who lived up on Knollwood that was complaining of a real high bill and insisted that our meter was wrong and so on and so on. So just out of curiosity, I looked back, he paid his bill immediately, everything he owed. And we've read his meter then one more time since then, and he's back on track at about 12,000 gallons a quarter. So whatever issue he had an issue and he fixed it.
It was him.
But I just wanted to go back and double check it.
Yeah.
And then Dino, I just wanted to let you know, I found a lockout tagout webinar seminar through our insurance agent, so I'm gonna make sure I get all the guys to kind of look, go through that, take the little quiz at the end and get signed off.
Yep.
And I guess for that was it for director's report. I can go into the capital and I can be quick with that.
Okay, sure.
All right, Guerrera, we just paid the last bill, so his work is done. The last thing will be the retainage. So he'll get his retainage back at some point. I'll probably come back next month and have you approve that retainage amount so that when we're ready to pay it, it's already been cleared. Bergstrom, the only thing I'll go over now that we've kind of authorized it is our schedule. And I don't know, Rich, if you want to get into, I guess you can just do that at your board of selectmen meeting as far as the dates of referendums.
Yeah, I'm
and
just
meetings.
gonna, there's a tentative date of November 29th for a referendum for the money. And we're trying to back in the dates for town meeting, Board of Finance. So we'll keep you all informed when those dates are gonna happen.
All right, looks like we have time to get it all.
Yeah.
Paul Street boiler, Connecticut Combustion is delivering the boiler tomorrow. And then I know he had a couple of schools he has to finish, and then he'll be getting back to us. So at least the boiler's here, we'll have it tomorrow.
And
It's moving.
the gas line in the road is complete.
Gas line in the road is complete. I'm still amazed that they did it as quickly as
Yeah.
and they did. The next sanitary sewer rehab project, it's under final, preparing the plans and specs. So I'm hoping we're gonna have something ready to go out to bid in November. Basically, it's gonna be a relining project from Durant Avenue across the train station parking lot, and then that whole run along the tracks and the piece that goes under the tracks. So I figured let's get everything all in that one area done in one shot.
Okay.
So, and as I reported, we did meet with Metro North and they're agreeable to things, so we'll get whatever their requirements are gonna be cranked into the contract. And then my last is Clark Park 2. We already authorized Blake for the pumps and the rails and that work. I just got an electrical estimate. I didn't go through it in detail yet. His number was about 84,000. That's
With a generator?
that's the install of the generator. I asked him to back out the generator so we could purchase it. So he's got it in a couple of pieces, and I haven't looked at it all, but
84 included the generator in his bid or not?
not the material, the install of the generator and the transfer switch and getting it all hooked up. I wanted him to back out the cost of the generator.
Man,
Gotta go back to
somebody-
this.
no, they got- What about the other pump station?
Which one?
You got two on a car park.
I budgeted to do Clark 2, and that's what I got in the
Right.
budget.
This year and
Well,
then,
yeah, all the same age.
That one will come
Right,
next.
huh?
I can't spend the money if I don't have it
No,
pre-approved.
but it's something that we have to.
Yeah.
look into.
Correct.
That's what I'm
It'll
saying.
be in next year.
It'll be the
Next
next one. Yeah,
next year.
it's gonna be next year's budget.
correct.
We got on there, how long, talk about these pump stations.
long time. We got a lot of pump. This trip we went on to Trumbull, they have 2 maintainers for 16 pumping stations, and that's all they have.
Well, that's why I just talked to him about our 6 guys we had. To find exactly what goes on.
Okay,
That's all. I'm not,
Yep.
okay, have to understand, I'm not here to give you a hard.
I got you.
But we got. We gotta find out exactly where the hell's going on.
all right,
Oh, I got one other question.
Yes.
Chairman,
yes,
didn't we ever buy that GPS system, and the computer and everything?
the SCADA system
Yeah.
or GPS for the truck.
GPS, on the trucks.
I know the
Yeah.
town vehicles have it, all town vehicles have it.
Yes, and it's getting, so the technology in the systems is outdated. So Verizon's, we're gonna, 3G is going away, the old system is 3G.
Mhm.
So Verizon, for the same price we pay monthly, is gonna come install newer units that have the 4G, they're gonna pay to install them, and it's like less than $1 cheaper, it's pretty much the same price,
Mhm.
so those are all getting updated.
Do we have them on our trucks?
Yes,
We got them on all our trucks, right?
yes,
Well, the reason I'm saying that, because one town, one employee was doing something wrong and they caught the truck.
Yeah.
And they notified him, right? Well, 2 weeks later, they caught him again, and now the guy's not working any longer. Yep. That's the beauty thing about the GPS. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Below grade rescue. Have you ever taken any classes for these guys when they go below grade about something should happen? Because the fire department just got nailed.
Okay,
Because what happened was they got somebody out of a catch basin. And one of our people in the firehouse made a nice picture of it, put it all over, the place. OSHA came down. And everybody in the firehouse had to take that class.
confined space.
They're retired guys. But I think it's something you should look into,
Yeah. For sure.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll put a motion on the table that we approve the repair of the 2 pumps that Kelly brought up earlier. For a total, for the 2 pumps of $12,590.
Almost.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, just one other thing, I apologize, we have to go back to the minutes. I need a correction done on the minutes. Anywhere in the minutes that says first selectman has to be changed to acting first selectman, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll make that a motion so it's on a record.
Almost.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Anything else to come before the commission?
Move adjourned.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Thanks.
I can sign that. Well, Marty's got to look at the contract. Good. Cool.
Go back. Oh, we're not ready yet. We're not ready yet. I gotta get DPH to bless it.
Okay.